All right, welcome again to our podcast on mole conversions. In this case, we're going to go over the second mole conversion process, which involves converting particles to moles. Now, there's one rule whenever you're converting between moles and particles, and you'll find that this is the case for any type of conversion that you make, regardless of which direction you're going in, whether you're going from moles to particles or particles to moles, the conversion factor that you're going to use, the value that you have to know to be able to proceed with the problem, is Avogadro's number. So here's an example. How many moles are in 1.50 times 10 to the 22nd atoms of sulfur? So, first thing we always write down is what we know. And in this case, we know that we're converting between atoms, which is right here, and moles. So we start with the information that we're given, which is 1.50 times 10 to the 22nd atoms of sulfur. And we want to end up with a value that is given in moles. Now, what do we always use when we're converting between moles and particles? That's right, Avogadro's number. So let's write that down. It's always helpful to write down all the conversion factors you're going to need. Even if you're one of those people who just gets this stuff from day one, I still, 9 years into this, actually more than 9 years into this, write down all the information I need to know so that I have it in front of me. Now, we've written down our conversion factor. We know that at some point we're going to need to use that to convert between units. So here's where we go. We start out, obviously, with the information that we know. So 1.50 times 10 to the 22nd atoms. Then we're going to make a grid, just like before. Now, our conversion factor is Avogadro's number, but it's very important to know where to put the units. Again, the whole goal of this is to cancel out the units that we don't want and to leave the units that we do want behind. So, we want moles. So moles ends up on top, 1 mole specifically. We have to use the value that is in the conversion factor. So, 1 mole it is. Now, obviously, since we're converting to atoms, we need to use Avogadro's number to make that conversion. So 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. Now, the important thing here is not that the numbers cancel out, but that the units cancel out. And you can see here that we have atoms on top and atoms on the bottom. That's a surefire way to make sure things cancel out every time. Now, we've come to the end, because now we have the units that we want in moles, and we've gotten rid of the units that we don't want in atoms. So, all that's left to do now is, as my Algebra 2 teacher, Mr. Sperry, used to say, plug and chug. So we take 1.50 times 10 to the 22nd, and we divide by 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Obviously, the 1 pretty much cancels out, so we can effectively ignore that. And when we crunch the numbers and we round to the proper number of sig figs, which in this case is 3, we'll end up with 0.0249 moles of sulfur. Remember, it's always important to include your proper units after the problem is done. We will be taking off points on quizzes and tests if you fail to include those units. So get in the habit of doing it now, and it won't be a problem later. So there it is, particle to mole conversions. Hope you liked it. Thanks.